What's going on today?
Gary V, headed to VaynerMedia. So we're like 10, 20 minutes away. I think we're gonna start walking and then a little welcome session over there and a jam-packed day. So it should be fun. Let's do it. So 2 weeks ago, Jonathan and I were up in Toronto at SAS Academy, and we were brainstorming in our hotel room different like influencers or celebrities or things, people we could work with, and Gary V came up, Gary Vaynerchuk, VaynerMedia. And so I went to his website, pulled it up, and it was like right before he shut the laptop and went to bed, and just filled out his form to say, I'd love to come out and work with you. So he's got these sessions that he books, and he had one that was available like a week later. So his team emailed me the next morning, and a few days after that, got on a phone call with them to talk about this workshop that we're going to. And they said, yeah, we've got a spot open if you can make it, but it's in 7 days or something. And so decided to do it, pulled the trigger, and here we are in Manhattan, less than 2 weeks later, about to do this all-day workshop with his team. So it should be cool. And we've got like a Q&A session with Gary, get his take on what we're building. And then tonight, Empathy Wines, his new wine, is doing a kickoff party. And so we'll get to go to that too. So it should be a cool day.
So first 3 rows here, all Team Gary, said it before, say it again. Behind that is Vayner Talent. So there's about 18 people that work on the Vayner Talent team across a dozen or so personal brands. The Empathy Wine team sits over there, Vayner Speakers, Vayner Sports, Arjun and I are in this area. So what's cool about this is that less than 2 years ago, pretty much this entire side of the building just didn't exist. None of these businesses were operating. Team Gary was a fraction of the size, probably less than 10. Vayner Talent was in its infancy stages, probably 2 people. Vayner Speakers didn't exist. Empathy Wines didn't exist. Vayner Sports was 1 person. So in a very short period of time, 24 months, this whole side of the building is now employed. Yeah.
Which street is it on, the Android?
It's in Midtown. I think it's like 44.
44.
But check it out. You guys want to see the office?
Take a picture.
Honestly, that's long.
All right, let's rock and roll. Why don't you go around one more time and tell me who you are, where you're from, and what your company does.
Cool. Chris Ronzio, Scottsdale, Arizona. Company's called Trainual, online training manuals for growing businesses.
Yep.
So they document all their SOPs, train their teams as they grow.
Love it. How long have you been doing it?
We launched the business last January, so 16, 17 months now.
Awesome.
And
Congrats.
doing well so far. A team of 18, including this guy.
Jonathan Ronzio, brother, partner at Trainual. Trainual was born out of his consulting firm, and actually when he transitioned from service to product, I live in Boston, but took a few months to go out to Arizona and just kind of build all the brand and marketing and systems in Boston.
Awesome.
So I run
Huge difference.
3 years.
3 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I run the marketing for the team, and I still live in Boston, but I'm out there about once a month, meeting with everybody. Yeah.
Awesome.
So, we're in the training manual space, documentation, SOPs.
Yep.
And the biggest problem we have is messaging and how to make it urgent, because small businesses want to do anything but sit down and just write out all their processes. And I feel like a chameleon with the elevator pitch and trying to describe what we do. So I'm curious on how you would hone in on a message around why a business needs a playbook, or how do you create urgency?
So it might not be urgency, so let's start with that. But one more time, because I want to really understand. You're telling an SMB that they should sit down and create a manual?
Or crowdsource it with all their people, so that all their policies, processes are in one place, and they're training their new hires the same way. And as they grow, everyone's doing things.
And you want all that information to sit on your platform?
Yeah.
As a SaaS business?
Yes.
Understood.
So we've got about 1,500.
I don't think you should it's not about urgency.
Okay.
I think it's about money. I think the way you'll get SMBs to really come in, if your message is, one of the biggest reasons I'm really good at SMB marketing is because my dad is like the cliche textbook central casting of like an SMB. Everything's defense. Everything's like short-term ROI. It's why they're not getting tricked into lower funnel. It's just lower funnel is what they do. SMBs don't build brand. They're in the sales business. Everything is short-term. It's the nature of the beast. So I love these questions because it's so easy for me to go into my head and be like, what would get my dad to do this? He would never sit down and do it on theory.
Yeah.
He would definitely not do it because it was good for his employees. He wouldn't. It's just not what he is. He would definitely do it if I could convince him that he's wasting $8,340 a year, because that's how many hours are being wasted on managers training people that they could be doing in selling. You need to turn this into a financial thing.
Okay.
You make one fucking smart video that shows like humans equal money and they waste time because they're telling Rick what to, like you just paint them the scenario. Like you walk into a liquor store, let's use that one, and you go, hey, do your managers train your new, how do your new people come on? Well, they just fucking, we throw them into the wild. And do your, like, do they make mistakes and wrong stickers are put on things and you lose money? Yep. And do like do sometimes your manager have to ring up people at the register because they didn't know what to do at the register? Mm-hmm. Like, do you understand how much that's actually worth? If you take your average manager who makes $65,000 a year and you take 89 hours a month, and you have to make this binary math.
This is an ROI thing.
ROI thing. How much does your product cost?
It starts at $99 a month.
Perfect. You need to basically convince all of them that they're wasting $200 a month, and you're going to give them back $100. It will kill.
Okay.
Money in the bank.
Okay.
I don't know if I've been more confident of a piece of advice in 4Ds since we started it. I'm not kidding. I'm that confident. SMBs are binarily on short-term economics. If you tell them, you pay me $100, what they're very bad at is hitting costs. Small businesses are bad at hitting costs. They're too binary. They don't see the bigger picture, and this is obviously generalizing, but it's very cliche, especially when you come from zero. Cash is king. You're looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not saying like, you know.
Okay. So straight ROI conversation.
Yep.
Okay.
They just don't want to give you $100 a month for something that's not going to be used.
Yeah.
You got to convince them that they're wasting $400 a month on hidden fees, on hidden costs that your thing solves for.
Yeah. Okay.
Like literally every one of them is training through osmosis, which is taking time out of experienced workers to just teach the new kid what to do instead of the new kid spending a week fucking, do you understand?
Yeah, totally. Okay, the other thing we're dealing with is I've done a lot of the content as just kind of a personal brand, and we hired a content manager, we hired a video producer, but we're kind of unsure on what to create content around. Is it the business or is it me, and how do we divide that?
You need to build the content around common day problems of SMBs.
Through our company channel?
Or with Chris as the lead?
Those are both, I'm agnostic to that.
Okay.
If you start an entire series of Did You Know for SMBs, you need them to watch it.
Yeah. I need them to, so just any kind of content.
The reason for all of us to do content is to have somebody watch it, to then create an opportunity, whatever that may be, right? I'm secretly trying to crowdsource buying the New York Jets. You may want to get more people on your SaaS product. So I think that the place where people spend a lot of time on is the equipment, the lighting, the debate of personal brand versus logo, and what the only thing that matters is make shit that people want to watch, that you want to talk to.
Yeah.
Right? That makes a lot of sense for you.
That's
It's
all
why
I do, yeah.
it's what you did. It's why it may seem unique when you tell it for them, the audience, but I so understand it. Because when you scratch your own itch, and your itch is your community, it's just perpetual.
Yeah, it's
Right?
fun.
It's how you stumbled into your thing. You were doing this, and and so your job is to make the best content in the world for small businesses,
Okay.
right? Like how to hire your
And
your
it's
family member.
Broad,
yeah.
not about documentation and
Definitely
process.
not about documentation.
Okay.
That's the curveball.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Documentation is selfish. Making a video where you interview somebody who teaches people how to fire relatives, is thinking about small businesses, right? Right? That's what small businesses, that's one of the biggest issues every SMB has in the world right now. How do I fire my loser cousin? My fucked up aunt? My, how do I,
Yeah.
how do I limit my grandfather's yelling at me? Like it's human stuff.
Yeah.
So
You become that. That's what I always talk about. Be the media company, and don't make content that's literal to you.
Okay.
One of the challenges we were talking to Russ about a little bit was just the what has allowed us to scale this far has just been direct response ads on Facebook and Instagram.
Makes sense.
And so we have gotten really good at identifying the pain, the solution. Here's the product,
good.
but we haven't put too much into the building the brand equity around the content, like what you're talking about.
And that's what you want to do, because it's going to get your CAC and your LTV numbers in a much better place over time, especially when what happens next to this whole Gary V era, where a lot of people have won off of the thesis, is enough money comes in where the ads don't work anymore. That's what happens next. Let me tell you what 2022 is going to be about. Everybody that plays up, that's why I'm glad you're here. Because you're going to take advantage of the pay. That's why I'm glad you're here. You're taking advantage of the pay, and you need to build brand. You guys are on the opposite spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have both, you become vulnerable. You don't get the max upside.
Right.
You can be more like, I think a lot about like I've been thinking a lot about how I talk. Like vulnerable isn't you go out of business. Vulnerable is like you don't keep growing. And when you don't keep growing, things could happen. Maybe you're spending too much in your lifestyle based on how your business is, and all of a sudden it stops growing. Then you actually become vulnerable. Those are things I think about. But yeah, you have to build brand.
I'm curious, in scaling so fast in your business, how did you make sure the knowledge transfer happens?
Osmosis.
Okay, so that's how it's.
Yeah, so I am not as my whole company wants to use your product except for me, because I'm an entrepreneur and I'm SMB.
Yeah.
That's why I know what you need to do. I'm real tricky for you because I don't care about money either, but most do. So it's okay that I'm all the way over here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the guy, but like for the SMB that doesn't want to do it in the proper way and wants osmosis, she or he will take you up on, I will save you $4,000. Here's how. And by the way, we wasted enormous time on senior people training people through osmosis.
Yeah.
And where we started evolving into more products like you is I started realizing, wait a minute, not everybody learns like me. So I got D's and F's. And so maybe we do need stuff like this in place.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that, have you seen B2B SaaS products leverage influencers and celebrities and that sort of thing as an effective way?
They will.
Okay.
Sure.
And is there some...
Of course. GoDaddy ran Super Bowl commercials.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Of course.
Okay.
That's been another difficult part.
MailChimp, like a lot of these like less expensive, like your products.
Like with our marketing, when we really started to take off, it was like the ads we were running were just the two of us walking and talking on the street, running story ads. And we got to a point where we tripled our team.
Yep.
And felt like we should be producing more production, and
it didn't convert
yeah,
as well.
it didn't go as well. So
just keep it raw.
Keep it valuable. It's not about raw. It's about valuable. Star Wars is valuable. I go into a theater. I escape from my real life for 3 hours. Like, it's escapism. You guys doing high production is not escapism. Keep it valuable. You made a commercial, potentially.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, like people think raw production. I think value, not value. Making a video that looks great, but it's just there for you to get a sale is less valuable to the other person on the other end.
right.
You guys shooting the shit and actually talking about real shit clearly was more valuable.
Yeah. Another thing we just did, it was kind of a test, but it felt like cheap attention, and it was getting banner ads in the airport in the concourse.
Yeah.
We don't have a campaign strategy yet, but if you were trying to target SMB business travelers in an airport, is there like a call to action, or
I would do in that scenario, which I like real life, like media, like if it's underpriced. I like the idea of going literal. Are you a small business? Do you have a business problem? Text us and put a phone number. You collect the data. I like that.
Huh.
I would do that.
Okay.
You get first party data, you can call them, you can see it through, you can see how it's working.
The direct response text.
Maybe you make a funny little asterisk and be like, we will not save your information. Maybe you show a picture of yourself, like, so you can play.
Hey, thanks for watching the session that Jonathan and I recorded with Gary Vee at their amazing studios in New York City. Finally back in the office and literally have hundreds and hundreds of tasks that we pulled away from that experience. So what a cool experience to just be there in the tower with his team, learning from Gary Vee himself. If you want to check out the full recap video that my brother and I shot afterward, you can look at that. I linked it up below. And otherwise, hope you got something out of this.